Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along. It is lovely to be here with you. Slightly different venue in a different uh, place to normal, but it is great to be here. I thank my host for allowing me the link here to be able to talk to you about the racing coming up on Saturday. So we've got some marvelous racing across Britain and Ireland. In the end, I've decided on the three selections that I'll be presenting to you. For Saturday, coming on the back of five selections that I've had over the 3 days of the York Dante fixture. Um, and overall, it all turned out profitable. First 2 days, both horses placed. Kihava and Mr. Wagyu just scraped into that sixth place, thankfully. Yesterday, the first of the runners, Monda Medj, didn't manage to go quite as well as I'd hoped, but La Trinidad ran into the each way money and had been recommended at 25 to 1. And then today, just over an hour ago, Giavoletto, who was my only tip for today, absolutely bolted up at York. I hope you were on. It recommended at 7 to 1. Um, and um, That was on Wednesday when I selected him. Of course, Hamish was a non-runner, but still with the deduction, it's still a nice, tasty winner. Not a huge winner, but a nice price winner. I want to say thank you as well to those people that I was at York races yesterday for the Dante, and it was very lovely for a few people that follow the service to come up and introduce themselves and have a photo and have a chat and say how much they enjoy the service and follow. And that was really nice to meet a few of you, and I look forward to more of the same going forward. So I'm going to take you on to the three choices for this coming Saturday, tomorrow. And I'll take you first to Newmarket HQ. The 240 race at Newmarket is a 7 furlong handicap. It's on the forecast good ground. It might even quicken up a bit. Here up in Yorkshire, it's dried out. It's been a lovely, dry, warm day, and I believe that's the case in many parts of the country. So there's a possibility it could even go even good to firm in places. So 15 runners in this Newmarket 240. Divine Libra for Charles Hills is one of the market principals. Definitely want a clear favourite. Won in very good style at Chester last week. Of course, that's a unique track. He's gone up £7 for that really comfortable success, but the horse is equally at home on the very wide open spaces at the Rowley Mile, just as he is in the cauldron of the atmosphere at the Rudy, which is so unique. And if he has recovered in time following those exertions, then he certainly will be one who goes pretty close again, I'd suggest. Now, Stuart Williams has a horse who did really well last season called Quino, won at the meeting 12 months ago. It continued to improve in leaps and bounds after that, winning good events at York, then on the July course at Newmarket, and also at Ascot. And as a result of those successes at big, high profile courses, he starts this term £22 higher than this time last year. So I think it'll take a pretty impressive effort from him to score off his new rating first time out off an absence of 7.5 months. Gorak is a horse with prospects, trained by Charlie Fellows. He showed up for many of the big handicaps over this trip last season and ran really well on a number of occasions without troubling the judge. And consequently, he started this season off a potentially useful mark. And his return fourth over course and distance was a good effort. And he's actually been dropped £2 as well. So he is one to be fearful of. Gorak. Desert Cop for Andrew Balding, a good winner of a hot 6 furlong handicap at the Guinness meeting, has been raised £5. The problem with him is that he's yet to prove himself at this trip, and he needs to produce a career best effort as well to do that. So those are two variables which probably, for me, make him one to um, pass on this occasion. Marco Butti's Rainbow Fire, he won his maiden here over the course and distance a couple of seasons ago, and he hasn't been over raced in his time. He'll be suited by the better surface than last time as well, and will be one I could see going close. And then you got old Summergand, who actually ran at York. Well, I say he ran at York on Wednesday. He was virtually pulled up, and not his fault at all. He got very badly hampered, and literally was allowed to walk home. So he didn't have a race. He's an old hand. He's a very tough horse, and if he's on a going day, he could be a danger. But my selection here is actually the stable companion of Samagand, and this is Darkness. Darkness is trained by David O'Mara, and is the mount there, as you see, of Jason Watson. So they are the team that I'm hoping are going to supply us with a nice winner. This Darkness is a capable performer at this grade when things drop right for him. And he shaped nicely last time out here on his second start back when finishing sixth in a decent event, having been in front until the furlong marker, where he weakened gradually in the manner of a horse, typical manner of a horse who was just that touch short of peak fitness, and he's been dropped a pound since to what is now a pretty tempting mark of 87. If you look back to last summer, then Darkness won in good style on the July course off 91, and straight after that ran a cracker when he was close fourth of 20 in the valuable Golden Mile at Glorious Goodwood. In late September, he was a good third over this course and distance off 92, so there really is a fairly strong argument, which I hope I'm making you and is somewhat persuasive, for him now being handicapped well enough to go really well on Saturday. 16 to 1 each way were the odds on offer. Last time I looked, there was a standout offer, and I'm just going to see if that is available since I've made my notes. Darkness. Well, in fact, the 16 has gone, and the best price now is 14 to 1 with both William Hills and Betway. So the 16 is gone, and I'm surprised here. I'm seeing some firms as short as 8 to 1. Paddy Power and Betfair and Unibet are now only 8 to 1, but 14s is still there at the time of this message, just after 5 o'clock. So if you can get it, grab it because it looks like it's going to go. So that's Darkness, who I hope is going to shine a light on some nice winnings for us, the first selection on Saturday. Now, just before I move on, I want to mention to you that my sole selection over at Sportsbet on Saturday over at YouTube, to save you having to go looking for it, is in the Lock-in Stakes, the Group 1 race at Newbury on Saturday. Always a tremendous, tremendous event, of course, and this year's race is no exception. Now, there's the French horse that is going to be possibly a favourite, Big Rock, who bolted up in the QE2 at the end of last season. Charin, who of course won for us last time out, big chance. Royal Scotsman, I think, could go well at a price. But in the end, I did recommend to you High Royal when he ran well into a place first time out this season. And I have tipped him at 50 to 1. 50 to 1 at Sportsbet for Kevin Ryan and Ryan Moore in the Lockinge, because I just think that that run first time out suggested that he could be on the way back. He'll certainly go in the ground. He was placed in two classics last season, the Irish 2000 Guineas. He was third, and of course he was second in the English 2000 Guineas. And that run last time out as well was over 9 furlongs. He's back to a mile. And I think there are just questions about one or two of the market principles, and the race might be ripe for a shock. So High Royal is the one I've recommended over at Sportsbet at 50 to 1. So if you're thinking of having a Yankee instead of a round robin on my selections on Saturday, or whatever other bet you choose to do, then that is the other one that I have come down in favour of, and that one is at Sportsbet. But here at Out in Front, my second recommendation is at Newbury, 3 o'clock on Saturday. The mile and a quarter London Gold Cup handicap. Good ground also at Newbury. 14 runners, a cracking race for 3-year-olds only. Attracted a host of horses open to masses of improvement on their form to date, and that makes the form book, to a degree, difficult to interpret accurately. Now, it is understandable that the bookies are wary of Aidan O'Brien's Shanti, because any horse he brings over here is dangerous, and any horse he runs in a handicap you've got to be very fearful of. He had one run yesterday at York that looked beat and then stayed on and won in the late race there at York on Thursday. But his Shanti, beaten in all 4 maidens last season, although he ran well much of the time, seemingly had improved this season on his reappearance at Leopardstown 6 weeks ago when he stepped up in trip and romped home on heavy ground. And if he proves as effective on the quicker surface, it's good ground as opposed to heavy, he could be dangerous. But there are plenty of other improvers who I think are going to test him very thoroughly. Among them, King's Gambit, the form of his close second in a novice event last term, was given a big boost when the narrow winner that day, Brackenlaugh, who was getting £6, ran a close second in the Derby trial at Chester. And on a point of handicapping, Harry Charlton's horse has got in quite light, if you use that form literally. If he is fully wound up first time out, he's going to be a massive danger. and that one is the Charlton horse King's Gambit. Fighter Command represents the Gosdens. It got off the mark in a Windsor maiden over this trip 19 days ago and doesn't look overburdened on its handicap bow for mark of 84, while Rafe Beckett's Pony Ross is another to go handicapping for the first time, and his solid second at Windsor last time out, I think, should have put him pretty much spot on for a big effort here. Now, good old Spitting Mick, 92 years old, he runs the hat-trick seeking Spirit of Acklam here, and this very rangy type of a horse did nothing wrong at all when he scored at Ripon in a minor novice event last time on his first start back. And also the fellow Northern Raider Individualism for Charlie Johnston, I think he's going to have come on for a solid reappearance second at Musselburgh. And on that day, if you see the race, he travelled powerfully for a long way before he just ran out of steam inside the final furlong. But on to my selection and the choice here in a race where there are so many unexposed 3-year-olds, many of whom will improve far beyond whatever handicap mark they'll turn up with on Saturday, is David Mamissier's Goodwood Odyssey, who is the mount of the very, very capable Kieran Schumacher. There they are, David Mamissier, the former French trainer who's now based in Britain, and Kieran Schumacher, who, of course, is established really as one of the top flight jockeys. He's a Group 1 winner. He won the Group 1 on the William Jarvis horse a season or two back. Well, they team up here with Goodwood Odyssey, and I thought this horse ran a marvellous race last time out. He came from last to first, overcame trouble in running, having been hampered at the 2 furlong from home marker, um, and he won with plenty in hand in the end at Sandown. And even though he's been raised £7 for that win, I think he'll go well. The runner-up Brioni for Alan King reopposes on better terms, but I'll be very surprised if Brioni finishes ahead of Goodwood Odyssey, who I think would surely have won by quite a lot further had he not been hampered. Crucially, at that 2 furlong from home marker, as you know at Sandown, that's the steepest part of the hill, and it's a bad place to be stopped with momentum. And on that day, his rider managed to switch him out after that around horses, and this Ulysses Cole really showed a proper turn of foot. Admittedly, that was a Class 4 race. This is a much better contest, but I think this is a horse who is going places. If things pan out for him, I can see him taking the beating. Um, he was early 7-1 each way for 4 places. I'm just going to check in now and check I'm not telling you any stories here as to the odds that are available at the moment. Goodwood Odyssey, yeah, 13-2 now, the best call. 13-2 with Bet365 for 4 places. So there's a bit of a nibble or two for him. And it looks to me as if Shanti is now drifting because he's now joint favourite with King's Gambit. But it looks to me as if individualism has been supported, which doesn't surprise me, as I pointed out. But I think Goodwood Odyssey, if he gets the clear run this time, he'll run a big race, a very big race. And so to my third and final selection for Saturday, and just an early heads up that I will have at least one recommendation for you, one, possibly 2 selections for Sunday, which I'll be emailing out to you and bringing to you here, posted on the website at Patreon. My final choice is back at Newmarket. It's in the 3:15, so all 3 of my runners at out in front are going to be running within the space of just over half an hour. It's only gin, just a moment. Right. Right. So it's going to be a very lively half an hour or so. So the 3:15 at Newmarket, a mile handicap on the good ground and 11 runners. Another tough heat. And one of the first ports of call when you're looking at this race has to be last year's winner, horse called Repertoire, trained by David Simcock, making he made a bold attempt to um, uh, and run very nicely when he was 4th on his reappearance at Ascot 17 days ago. This horse won this race in good style last year. He's only £3 higher, and if the ground continues to dry out, it will help him because he's a horse who likes very decent ground. Now, 3rd on this very card 12 months ago, it was actually in the 7 furlong handicap for 3-year-olds, was Castle City, trained by Richard Hannon, who won nicely on soft ground at Bath recently in a lesser event, admittedly, and has only been raised £3. Now, he handles the surface, but is likely to find this a tougher assignment. And that's a comment that applies equally to Dr. Richard Newland's hat-trick seeker Great Blasket, who has to beat better horses now off a higher mark if he's to maintain his winning sequence, and I'm not overly convinced he's up to doing it. Andrew Balding's Hopeful is clearly the most unexposed runner in the field, and he showed plenty of promise on only his fourth start, and it was his debut in a handicap when he was beaten just half a length by the decent Barishnikov on soft ground at Redcar over a mile and a quarter earlier this month on his first start since last season. He's £2 higher now, but I think he'll have come on significantly and he's going to be a big danger. And there also appeared to be no fluke about Alto, trained by Ian Williams, going close over this course and distance last time on his third start for his new connection since he left France, where he had previously been trained. He won't be such a big price as he was last time. I think he was 40 to 1. I think he'll be in the mix, and so too Hugo Palmer's He's a Gentleman, who ran well when second at Chester last week over 7 furlongs, but he does stay this trip on decent ground. My choice here, the selection for this 3:15 race, is a horse called Good Karma. That's what we all need. Good Karma. And this one trained by James Ferguson and ridden by the excellent Safi Osborne, another unexposed horse. He's having only his sixth race. He's a gelded son of Dark Angel. He won over 7 furlongs at Wolverhampton as a juvenile a couple of seasons ago. And then he won first time out last season in a 7 furlong Newbury novice event. Before stepping into handicap company for the first time in the ultra-competitive Britannia Handicap, no less. His first run in a handicap at Royal Ascot 4 weeks later, and he wasn't at all disgraced. He finished 11th of the 29 runners on his handicap bow off 91. Now, quite clearly, something wasn't quite right. It must have transpired because we didn't see him again for 10 months. So there was obviously an issue. And that was until he reappeared on the all-weather at Chelmsford only last month. It was a decent event in which he ran, and he ran well for a very long way before patently getting tired over a furlong out on that first run for such a long time. And everything about that run suggested to me that he would improve for the outing. And the fact that he's been dropped £2 since then is a bit of a Brucey bonus, and it leaves me now with the feeling that he could just about be on the right side of the handicapper. Now, 14 to 1 were the odds on offer last time I looked, and I'm just going to bring you the very latest odds to check that there hasn't been any change. No, 14 to 1 is available still as I look with Bet365, with the Betfair Sportsbook, and also with Paddy Power. Interestingly, some of them go as short as 9 to 1. Bet Victor, who are quite a shrewd firm, only 9 to 1. Good Karma, while the three I've mentioned are also in their way are pretty shrewd as well. They're 14, so try and get some of that 14s if you can. Good Karma. So those are the three here at Out in Front for Saturday. Don't forget the one at huge odds at Newbury in the Lockinge. It will be interesting to see if High Royal can step up on that first run back of the season, and maybe if he can squeak into a place, or maybe who knows, do the business. That would be quite something as well. But I think these three, all very decent prices, are set to run well on what's already been a profitable week for us for the service. Next week, I will be sending my tips to you, but I won't be here for a video. I'm under strict instructions from her indoors, my dear, darling, beloved wife, that this is one occasion when I'm going to have to step back from the video because it's my 25th wedding anniversary, and we're going to be celebrating that momentous decision. So I will be back with a video in a couple of weeks' time, and I very much look forward to talking to you then. Until then, keep backing the winners, hopefully with me and those you select yourself, and look out for my email and on the website with my selections to you on Sunday. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.